And I'm running the whole test suite now, and it still
Yeah.
passes.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's maybe an argument to make here that this is not necessarily a breaking change, or that like, well, if the test suite passes, then like swapping this behavior out maybe doesn't have much of an impact on existing sites, but I think that's probably not going to fly on a pull request. But that's something we could maybe have a discussion.
But also, like,
it's hard in a pull request to know how much discussion you're going to get either. Like, I don't know the person, and I can't just Slack them, the Jekyll person, to say like, hey, should we go down this path or not? So we have to sometimes take our best guess, and then they may never, they may never even reply to the pull request. We may never.
But if they're like, oh yeah, this is definitely a breaking change or something, like maybe it is or it isn't. But that has to be kind of up to them to make the call on, in a way, because like you said, we feel like it isn't. So if in line with the, like, you should make open source contributions, this kind of straw man argument that we're building up, like that, like the contribution, you can't make the contribution if it requires some back and forth with the maintainer, or like someone in, like, with the thing you're trying to contribute to. Like, that's part of the process, and there's no way around it.
So
it seemed like a pretty big change, though.
It's like a release. It's like a release concern, right? It's a concern about the versioning and whether it's a breaking version, or if there needs to be like, a migration path. Less so about the actual change, or if it is worthy of fixing. So
because now that bubbles up to like, how do like large groups of people develop and release software in a way that supports an even larger group of people. Like, that's process stuff, which is important. Okay, so like, if this is we went from, I don't know if we'll be able to do this, to like, great, now let's figure out, like, now we got it. So if all the tests pass, it felt like it kind of a big change still in the regular expression. So like, it wasn't like adding one more, like, oh, do something on this character. So in your, like, from your point of view, like, absent like release concerns and absent breaking changes, the tests still pass. Like, would you say like, this is what we're going to ship?
Probably not. Like the first thing I would say is that we probably need to apply this to the pretty thing, because like if we add, like, we can add another test here with the pretty mode, and it's not going to work, I think.
Interesting. Yeah.
Just because that's using the older regular expression.
Oh, given 2, expected 1.
Well, I guess that's not how you call Slugify.
Oh, it's mode.
Oh, it needs to be a named argument. So this is probably going to fail, and we haven't really sussed out all the details. Yeah, so it's failing in kind of the same way, and like maybe a better test case would be, to stick a couple of special characters on the end here that are supposed to. That's what the pretty mode is supposed to be doing, I think, is pulling those out as well.
And just discarding them, not like subbing them.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the actual came back with the.
Yeah, maybe, but this is like this at least is minimally showing that like the fix isn't completely done. So like, I guess we could ship it and just say that, well, it doesn't work for pretty mode, use normal mode. At the very least, if we were just gonna kind of try to like shove this through, we just would want to paste this into the alpha Noom section there anyways.
Okay. Would it be, from a workflow perspective, to make it easiest for the maintainers to like take a look? Because you want them to be able to invest the minimum amount of like time and cognitive effort. If they had to like load up this all like on their machine, that would be kind of annoying for them. So is there then precedent for like dropping in commits? Like, here's commit 1 failing test, commit 2 like minimum passing test, or like making it pass in the minimum like MVP, and then like another commit of like optional extensions, and then you can kind of like explain the story. Like,
I mean, that all sounds great. Like maybe it's like a hot take, but like I never do that. And
okay.
I don't I don't know. It's kind of interesting. There's this guy from the PHP world named David Hemphill,
Okay.
and he has this thing that's just like a motto that's just WIP, like WIP, work in progress.
Yep.
And he just makes every commit say that, and it's funny. And then like when he gets to a pull request, it's like he might have like 30 commits. They all just say whip, 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 whip. And then like in the pull request, he actually writes a detailed thing. But a lot of times, if the commits are getting mashed together,
Yeah, if you're squashing them
matter.
anyway.
I don't know. I'd say that's probably not a majority opinion, but I like the kind of freeing sense of it.
Yeah.
Of you're just kind of using these as like save points instead
Yep.
of worrying about crafting it. And
Yep.
you can
That's
certainly
how I
find
always done it.
you can certainly find stuff online about writing optimal commit messages, and I will acknowledge that there are contexts where that makes sense. But
Yeah.
I
think
think
it turns into
my commit
shedding.
messages are usually they're not as extreme as just whip, but they're usually kind of one sentence.
Yeah. Yep.
If that.
That's the same, because
Not even a
different
sentence, just like a blurb.
Right, like trying this, or sometimes they'll say like maybe now question mark, or like
Yeah.
did the thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's arguments that that's part of the craft, but I think a lot of it is mostly gold plating a little bit. Like is if the quality of your intermediate commit messages is something you're working on improving, I think you have obviously spent a lot of time improving a lot more important things.
Right, because everything in the world is a matter of like prioritization and constraints. And if you're like me, I'd like to become a better software developer. A portion of that is writing like got to use Git. It's got to do something with it, but writing small essays for every tiny character change is probably not the way to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah. Where do you want to go from here? So I think at least we've got like the core, piece of the change we need to make. I think there's still some thinking and consideration to be done around wrapping this up in a way that I think would get accepted, which is basically meeting that opt-in behavior type thing.
I would be curious.
We could talk through some of that. We could pause here, pick up again some other time. We could we could do sort of a known, like a pull request we don't expect to merge, and just kind of paste this in there and add some, clean up a little bit of this test stuff and see if we can start a dialogue in the pull request and go from there.
I'd be inclined to do that latter option of kind of try to clean it up, get it up for conversation, and then, because I imagine if they're like, great, this is good, and here's the process for to like make this like I imagine either like we could take a while to try to figure out like exactly where it should be made a configuration option, or they'll probably, if they're like, yep, this looks good, here's the thing that you need to do, or like I'd be inclined to try to clean this up, get like something done with it, and then kind of
go from there,
throw it up into the internet and see what happens.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's good, because really I think the next step in even the proper long-term fix is gonna have us asking questions that I don't think you or I can answer, since we're not on the project team, right? So we could, like, I think we would end up going down a line of like, okay, maybe we should add a new mode for this that is pretty Unicode or something.
Right.
Is that good, bad? Does that satisfy what they're looking for? I can see the array right here where they define the modes. I have no idea how like actually strict they are on this. Of like, no, we really would like to limit this because we don't want 50,000 different options here. So
and
I
like
think
you
that
said,
makes sense.
If this has been some hot spot in the code, like I'm sure someone knows a story that the story provides much more context than the current snapshot of the code. So maybe they're like, yeah, it was it was a beast to take these modes from 20 down to like these 5, so definitely adding no more or something like that. So yeah, you're right. It would be a little flying too blind. I think so. Okay, so then how do we go about like git add dot and like make the PR, or like what would you be inclined to do?
I don't think we're quite there yet.
Okay.
I want to, so we've got this test is failing right now, still here. So let's just kind of get that knocked out. I feel like I'm being super cautious with copy pasting and dragging at the moment. Just make sure that passes. And then I want to clean up the test a little bit. This name obviously is okay, but, and then maybe we should think about if it makes sense to pull this into a constant or something. Okay, so that's passing now. So that's at least good. So let's get the tests. Like the test is kind of this is like the sales pitch a little bit.
Yeah.
I think we want this to look as, you know, nice as we can. Yep. I'm curious, like stylistically, we've got the 2 asserts right in here just to show that it works for both modes. I'm feeling like the norms of this code base are to make a separate test for the pretty mode one. I don't see, let's see. It's pretty. Sometimes I would expect the tests to be nested a little bit. Like maybe they would have a whole section of tests that are just like in Latin mode, it does this. Let's see. They got a couple assert equals here. It's interesting they're using this old school hash syntax.
Yeah.
We will do that for consistency, but I would not. Like,
right.
That's not how I wrote it originally. That's fine. It's part of working in someone else's code base is, you know, taking your shoes off at the door if that's how they roll.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I don't see any strong arguments for or against, so we'll just leave it in this test right now.
Okay.
So, okay. So I think we should rewrite the sentence.
Should be breaking right now for GitHub issue. What do you mean?
Yeah.
That's not perfect?
Yeah. Let's see. Should replace. So this should.
So I imagine you're reading through the other shoulds to see kind of what they're talking about.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, just kind of like, is there any pattern or way of phrasing this? Like the idea is that if you look at this code, ours should just slot into place and not look like, you know, 2 people that just started developing on the project.
Right.
Added this in. So the utils Slugify method, let's see, should not replace Unicode. I don't really know enough about Unicode to know what this like thing is, but like it's like mark characters or something. Maybe we can look and find what it should be.
Or like maybe even like
hyphens.
Valid, like, oh man, like locale specific languages with hyphens, because that's basically saying like this is recognized as, it's recognizing as a invalid character. How, you know, that's an umbrella term, but it's recognizing something as invalid that isn't.
Yeah, let me actually look and see. So we're saying that it is not M, L, and ND. So it is not a mark. It is a letter, or it is, what is ND? A number? Decimal number? Yeah, as kind of part of the issue of us just copy pasting this is like,
no clue what this thing is actually
like,
doing.
That's probably still going to pass the test because we don't have like a huge range of regular expressions like examples in here matching, but I don't know. So that'll be interesting to see. So mark, I see mark here are non-spacing, spacing, and closing. So it looks like it's like accepting mark characters that are not spacing. So should not replace, maybe it's like, maybe we just say it should not replace Unicode mark characters. Should not replace Unicode. We could say, we could actually enumerate what it is, which is like, it is not replacing mark, letter, or number, decimal digit, category characters. This is pretty verbose, but I think that's better than what we had. We can iterate in the comments. I'm going to take this ASDF stuff out because I think it sort of distracts from the overall purpose of the test.
Yeah.
This is still passing, and then I'll probably move this somewhere. I don't know if they follow this any kind of conventions or whatever, but I generally would say that like stuff higher up in the test is like more, maybe not important, but like more common behavior. Like
more like
the stuff
base
here
case
is like
stuff.
Yeah, it's like replacing white space with hyphens and stuff. And like we're like way down in the list of like weird edge cases on this.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like if the test ranks from like, if the weird edge cases go at the end, that would make sense.
I feel like it kind of goes down here, and I'm not just saying that because it's you know, non-English. Like just replace punctuation in any scripts. But this seems like the end of the kind of basic things, and then now they're kind of looking at other modes and side effects. So. Could be not true, but okay. Put that there. So I think like this would be the absolute minimal thing we'd want to send up.
Cool.
Maybe we pull out a constant here just to see how that looks like. You know, I wish I had a little bit, you know, better sense of the Unicode semantics around here, because like I want to say like, you know, like non-space characters or something, but I don't know if that's even true.
Right.
So if we were to do that, now we're going to have to deal a little bit with making sure our escaping still works.
Right.
I think I lost a square bracket.
It is hard to read. It is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure the font size is probably not coming across
I can
terribly well on
the
Zoom.
It's just regular expressions are hard to read. I feel like someone who's like just trying to read by comparing like a character to another character. I'm like, yep, okay, up like square bracket, caret, caret.
Yeah. So we could do something like that. This actually is like making it longer because of the name.
Right. But if it shows the reusable portion, and then did you keep the test for pretty?
Yeah, I had the same assertion. It's in
the
same,
right. So now
it's in the same test, but it's just asserting twice.
Yep. And then we would extract the like pretty portion.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think there's an argument to be made that this makes it actually more confusing because, the regular expression is confusing, but now it's like I'm piecing together two regular expressions.
Right.
So like I personally don't even like this. So I think we'll probably, back this out regardless of if it would have been approved or not.
Right.
The rub is that like maybe you would want to, say like a comment in here about like, Unicode stuff, you know, C issue, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of that is sort of conventional to the project.
Yeah, this is gonna probably come down, like make the PR and then they'll be like X or Y or Z or whatever.
Yeah. So,
and then go from there.
yeah, given that I already think that it's unlikely that this will be accepted as is without some back and forth, I think this is probably good a place as any to open the dialogue there. So
right.
These are good. Depending on how long this is going to take, I wonder. If I knew more about this, I could probably run some just some of the integration tests that I think might be affected versus running this whole CI build.
Right.
Thing.
I tried that earlier and it threw Rubocop errors, which was encouraging. So then it was just white space stuff.
Oh, interesting. Like extra line. So that is maybe tills 140. That's annoying. That may be like my editor configuration. Like if I have a different white space type thing. Okay, this line is too long. Oh, that's fun.
Oh, yeah.
Should not replace Unicode. See, that's silly. I mean, this is, me editorializing, but like, is our test really going to be more clear if we like condense this down or put it on
right
multiple lines? And then it's like, I don't even know how to.
Like if you just had one long line of code,
work?
that would be one thing, but I'm sure there's like a Rubocop setting of like permit should blocks to go long.
I don't even know if that. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't know. That looks like that looks worse to me, but it satisfies
yep.
satisfies the linter. Oh boy, should not replace. Maybe we don't need to say with hyphens.
Does that get us there?
So if I had a little bit more knowledge about how the CI for Jekyll was set up, I might just go ahead and like push this and let the CI build run on our fork.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I kind of expect this to pass, but I don't know if that will run. Let's see. There's no Rubocop. There's an option in Rubocop that is -A.
Yeah, just automatically
auto fixes
fixes offenses.
And especially for this kind of stuff, that might be nice because this is in line it says it's in line 140 of. Oh, it's in the test details.
It says you can try running script format -A to autofix errors.
Oh.
Maybe. Oh yeah, right there.
I just fixed it, but
oh,
yeah, cool. I was ignoring the obvious error here. I guess that's the problem with.
Well, yeah, and we had just talked
stuff.
about how so much of the test output is like bananas long and crazy and hard to parse. So.
Yeah, it's interesting that they would say script, FMT instead of Rubocop. I wonder if that runs other things too, or if in the past they didn't use Rubocop, they used some other library, and so ideally this will run. I'm going to go ahead and get the commit set up, assuming it will be fine, and just because I know we're getting close to time here. Are you okay on time? I can go a few minutes longer.
Yeah, I'd love to get the PR and then be mindful of your time, but I think we're super close.
So we'll just make a commit. Switch Slugify regex to support more Unicode character, more Unicode character groups.
Sure.
Sounds okay. So we'll push. It's going to yell at me because I don't have some tracking thing set up, and I will paste this here. Cool. It's still good. I would wait for this to finish. Like, it's not necessary because when we make a pull request, the CI is going to run, but I think it's kind of bad form to like open a pull request and then have it immediately fail to build in case somebody gets the like new pull request notification, then they go and look at it and they're like, this is just obviously busted.
You can create draft PRs now, right?
That sounds like a thing. Not a thing.
Yeah, GitHub rolled it out recently, and I was like, oh, this is cool.
How does that work? Does it run? Does it run the CI or?
I don't think it runs the CI. Like you can like compose your whole commit thing, and then when you leave it as a draft, I think maybe there's if you hit the drop down next to create pull request, it'll let you do.
There's a.
Oh.
I apparently contributed on January 14th, 2016.
I'm sure it's all fresh in mind then.
Yeah, the contributing guidelines have changed. So.
That's funny.
So this is going to go ahead and fill in the issue template.
Oh.
Which is something that the project has set up. So that's nice. So thanks.
Yeah. Thanks.
Read this. I mean, sure, we mostly read it. Make our lives easier. This is a. Is it a bug fix?
He said.
I feel like it's a bug fix, but it was not.
Yeah, the maintainer dropped in and was like, because this could potentially introduce breaking changes.
It's not marked as a bug. Let's say enhancement.
Cool.
For me. Make sure you've looked over the test list. I've added tests. Yes, I've adjusted the documentation. Well, let's see. Let's see what happens. Test suite passes locally. Are you working on it? Cool. Context. So context is where we're going to link this issue. What's the number? Come on.
Yeah, my mouse has been misbehaving. I wonder if it's a Mac thing. Are you on 06? Yeah, you are.
Yes. This like autocomplete thing is like sometimes very good and sometimes very not good.
I know. I use like markdown heading syntax all the time, and it's always like trying to grab it from me. I'm like, no.
Yeah. So we are modifies the regular expression to support a wider range of Unicode character groups. This is really, it's really, a lot of it is like, see this thing.
Yeah.
See issue. This was deemed to be a breaking change in the original ticket. There are no failing tests to help guide us in confirming that it would break existing sites, but it does seem possible. The original ticket, I guess I should say issue. Ticket being, some other thing. Jira ticket.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they're called tickets in Jira.
I think of them. Well, GitHub issues lead to Jira
yeah.
tickets in my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So the original issue mentioned making this change opt-in. We're happy to support this, but we were not sure how to best implement that. I'd say like a possible proposal, add a new slug mode option, something like pretty Unicode. Ideas on the name. That would apply this more advanced REGEX. Any ideas on how to proceed? Let's see. Probably put in the context, if you don't mind. I'll probably tag like paired with, what is your thing is Josh?
Josh dash works should be me. There might be Josh underscore. Nope,
Put it
should
in
be,
there,
it's dash. Yeah, it's a dash instead of a hyphen. I should know my own GitHub username, I guess.
Where this CC'd. The original issue has more context on why the existing regex was not working as expected for Tamil. Other Unicode characters, including external references to a possible. Okay. Oh. Looks good. Anything you would add?
No, this looks good. This is super helpful just to see it end to end. Well, we're still not at the end. We'll see how it
yeah, so
how it goes from their end.
Yeah, so before I go ahead and click the button here, go through and review this.
Sanity check it.
Sure. Yep. So added our new options, added this. Yep. It looks good. Small change at the moment, but I wouldn't, I don't know, maybe we should say on here that like, we don't expect this to get merged as is.
Good point.
Happy to continue a discussion.
Yeah, that might help them feel a little less like weary about dipping in and being like, there's a little more that has to get done, because we're like, yeah, of course.
Cool, I think good.
Yeah,
looks good. I will wait for this